Welcome back. Today we'll be continuing the reading of Bug Guy, my novel about the giant bug from Kafka's The Metamorphosis becoming an influencer. Chapter 6: Lifestyles of the Rich and Buggy. After finishing my meal, I left the restaurant. Right on the curb was a limo waiting for me, with the rear door open. It was Evelyn, waving me inside. When I had my behind comfortably seated, I was really surprised to find Mary pointing her camera at me.
Holy baloney! Didn't we already finish filming for the day?
I said, annoyed.
Like it says in the good book, there's no rest for the wicked.
Mary said, adjusting her lens.
But I'm not the eternally damned. I'm a reality TV personality.
Reality TV star, the eternally damned. Is there really that big a difference?
I looked straight at Mary and said,
But don't you have to take a rest? It's 10 p.m. already.
I downed some Red Bull when you were in the kitchen eating, so I'm good until around 1 in the morning.
Isn't that a very unhealthy thing to do to your body?
Mary shrugged.
Not really. During my college days, I partied until 4 in the morning so my body can withstand this kind of abuse.
You have to be careful, though. Living like this for too long can make you burn out when you reach my age.
Mary burst into laughter, patted me on the head and said,
Sorry, I didn't know you were that old. Don't worry, we'll get you back and home in time for Matlock. Now, do you want a blanket to keep warm?
Hey, don't treat me like that. I'm not some dinosaur. I'm only about 5 years older than you. Believe me, I did some shitty things to my body when I was young. That's why I'm telling you this. To warn you whippersnappers.
Evelyn kissed me on the mandibles and said,
I'm sure Mary was just teasing you. She didn't mean any harm.
I looked out the window and saw Evelyn's apartment whizzing past us.
I think the driver just missed our apartment.
Oh, we're not returning to that shack. We've got a brand spanking new apartment in the Millionaire's Corner. Oh my God, that's the trendiest place in New York. All the who's who society swells live there. How were you able to get us an apartment there? I didn't. My uncle did. He has lots of connections to the upper crust. Okay, but how could he afford this? I don't know. Maybe he has blackmail photos on some politicians. Don't quote me on that. It's just a rumor I heard when I went to a party.
When we reached our new digs, I was shocked at the thin and delicate edifice standing in front of me. It looked like a normal skyscraper had become anorexic after the other skyscrapers teased it for how tall it was. Despite being a giant bug, I felt acrophobic just looking up at the building. When we got out of the limo, we saw Brian standing in front of the building.
Hey, Greg, how's it going? Okay, I guess. Listen, am I going to live in there?
I pointed at the building.
Of course! It's the most luxurious residence in New York. Whether it's luxurious or not, it looks like it was built wrong. It's so thin, it looks like it could easily topple over if the wind blew in the wrong direction. Well, I can assure you, it costs more than $1 billion, so there's enough engineering and sound construction methods to keep this thing standing. Okay, but make sure that there's always a window open so I can fly out if it starts falling over. I love your sense of humor. Anyway, I'm here to give you the keys to your new apartment. It's a huge building, so I'm also going to show you how to navigate around this place.
As he entered the building, he motioned to the security guard, as though they knew each other on a personal basis. The guard handed us fancy identification badges with microchips inside, then showed how to use them to get through the doors. He then guided us to the elevator where we were transported directly to the top floor, the penthouse suite. Evelyn and I entered the apartment and we were both struck with awe by the extravagance in front of us. 30-foot tall windows looked out on a panoramic view of the city, and the furniture could have been designed for the set of the Jetsons. The alabaster white modernist interior made it clear that only multi-millionaires could live there. But the design element that screamed its 8-digit price tag loudest was the amount of empty space. The living room itself was big enough for 3 two-bedroom apartments. Evelyn exploded with excitement. She couldn't stop herself from running around the living room, jumping on and spinning around in the chairs.
Evelyn, you shouldn't really do that. You'll break the furniture.
Who cares? We're rich. We can afford to break anything we want,
Evelyn said, jumping on a large hemispherical chair. I tried to pull her off with my legs, but she hopped off the chair and walked toward a gumball machine in the corner.
I wonder if this thing works,
she said, turning the knob. A piece of candy fell into a small stainless steel tray below, and she picked it up and put it in her mouth.
How is it?
It's fine. I got a strawberry flavor,
she said, then took another gumball from the machine, presented it to me, and said,
Here, want one?
No. I'm a giant bug, remember?
Oh, that's right,
she said, then popped the other gumball into her mouth. We then tried to find our room, but not before walking past the liquor cabinet. Evelyn could not keep her hands off of anything that caught her eye, so she opened it and took out one of the bottles.
Single malt whiskey, product of Scotland, made from spring water from the Highland, triple distilled, aged 5 years in charred oak barrels,
Evelyn said, reading the label.
That sounds expensive.
She looked at me with a wry smile and said,
I know.
Then uncapped the bottle and reached for a glass.
You shouldn't drink that. You don't know if we own that liquor.
Oh, come on. Let's live a little,
she said, then took a sip.
Does whiskey go well with bubble gum?
Yeah, I wish I had thought of that before I drank it. But still, it was okay.
As Evelyn finished her whiskey, Brian approached me from behind and asked,
So, what do you think of your new home? How can we afford this?
Brian laughed, as though it were a foolish thing for me to even bring up that question.
Ha ha! Come on! You're on television! You need to live a luxurious lifestyle! That's what the people want to see! You can't expect people to look up to you if you live in that shoebox apartment Evelyn has. But I still need to live within a budget. It's not like Domino's Pizza is giving us infinite money. Okay, if you need to know the details, I rented this apartment at a discount from Kathy Carpathian.
Oh my God! This is Kathy Carpathian's apartment?
This is her second home. She doesn't use it much, so she just rents it out most of the time.
Evelyn flailed her limbs around excitedly like one of those inflatable tube men in front of car dealerships.
Oh my God, I'm living in Kathy's apartment? I loved her in Shallow Hal, Too Big to Fail, and Shakespeare in Heat. Do I get to meet her?
Yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of her in the coming days. You see, I convinced her to do a sort of cross-promotion deal. She'll appear on our reality show, and we would appear on her show. That's how I was able to get her to rent this apartment for cheap. That's nice to hear, although I still like to take a look at the numbers to make sure it makes sense.
Right then, Evelyn swooshed past me, still dancing around like a maniac.
By any chance, do you have a tranquilizer dart?
Brian couldn't seem to tell if I was serious.
What do you mean? Surely you must be joking. You aren't usually a violent person by any means.
I looked over at Evelyn, who continued dancing, like some cursed puppet that just gained autonomy from its creator.
Evelyn doesn't seem to be able to calm down. And if she doesn't, I won't be able to get any sleep tonight.
Brian smiled.
Don't worry. I know exactly what to do with her.
He walked up to Evelyn, put his hands around her shoulder, and said,
Hey, do you want to see the solid gold bathtub?
A gold bathtub? Of course I want to see it. And take a long, relaxing soak in it.
Brian pointed the way, and Evelyn ran to the bathroom. When she was out of earshot, I turned to Brian and said,
It's not really solid gold, is it? Just gold-plated, right? It's actually 1 millimeter of 14-karat gold bonded to sterling silver. Still ridiculously expensive, though. You want to try that tub after Evelyn is done? Oh, no. I don't want to get my wings wet. It makes them floppy. No problem. Go ahead and ask Mary if you want to get wiped down with a sponge.
From the expression on her face, I could tell Mary didn't want to wipe me down, but she couldn't say no to her uncle, so she obliged. After the refreshing feel of being cleaned with a sponge, I took a peek at Evelyn, who was soaking in the bathtub in a state of complete serenity. Maybe it was the calming effect of the hot water, or the somnolent effect of eating an entire sundae, but she was finally at rest after spending the entire night hyperactive. Thank God, it gave me a chance to rest. I went to the bedroom, which was incredibly spacious and had a cozy-looking queen-size bed, walls covered in floral pattern wallpaper, and Turner-esque oil paintings. I laid on the mattress and used a built-in device to play the Goldberg variations. It helped me get to sleep, but my trip to the land of Nod was interrupted by a phone call.
Hello, is this Greg?
Said my mother before I had a chance to open my mouth.
Hi, Mom.
I said, shimming my body so it would rest comfortably between the sheets.
How are you doing? Are you bugging all of New York City?
Mom, your attempts at jokes are terrible. Please stop.
All right, my overly sensitive son. Listen, I'm on my way to visit you, but you never told me where you're staying at.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. The driver just drove me to Kathy Carpathian's apartment, so I don't know the address myself.
Ew! Oh my God! You know Kathy Carpathian? You must introduce me.
I don't know. The thing is, I'm not acquainted with her, so I'm not sure whether she's willing to meet with you.
Of course she will. You're the bug guy, the most famous bug on the internet. Everyone loves you, so I'm sure you can convince Kathy to meet me.
Sure. I'll ask her. And if she says no, you can always waltz past the security of Kathy's apartment. If you don't manage to get thrown out, you can hide in her closet and make a surprise visit.
That's my boy. Always thinking. By the way, since you're at her apartment, can you bring me back a souvenir? Like, say, a towel from the bathroom, especially one that hasn't been washed?
Mom, first of all, that's gross. Second of all, this is someone's personal residence. You can't just take stuff from them.
Oh, why do you have to be so strict with the rules? I'm just asking for a tiny thing that Kathy wouldn't notice has gone missing.
Okay, I'll see what I can get.
Great! You're the best son I've ever had. Had I ever told you that? I think I don't tell you that enough.
Mom, I'm your only son, and that joke was stale the first time you used it, about 100 times ago.
Yeah, you don't have to be so analytical. Anyway, I would hug you if I could reach you with my hands through the phone, but instead I'm going to have to give you a kiss.
Love you too, Mom.
I said, then hung up. Evelyn sashayed back into the room wearing a long white bathrobe, her makeup completely off, her skin fully pink from the soak in the hot water.
I love the way you look in that robe. Is that silk?
It sure feels like it.
Evelyn said, turning around like a supermodel on the catwalk. When she walked closer, I noticed the letters CC'd embroidered on her breast pocket.
This is Kathy Carpathian's robe.
Evelyn nodded with a mischievous smile.
Evelyn, I don't feel comfortable with you wearing her clothes. I mean, we need to be respectful of the people who have lent their private home to us. What would you think if someone you invited over to your house started wearing your clothes and drinking your expensive liquor?
Well, it all depends on how much I like that person.
Yeah, but you don't know if Kathy likes you that much.
Oh, don't worry so much.
She and Mom apparently had done a kind of mind meld on the issue.
I found it in the closet that has 20 bathrobes just like this one. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't even notice if I borrowed one for just one night.
I wanted to argue with her more, but it was late and I needed some rest, so I just turned off the light and went to sleep. And that concludes Chapter 6 of Bug Guy. I thank my friends Edie Matthews and Dave Strom for reading along with me. If you're interested in purchasing the book, I included the link below. Until next time, I'll see you for the next chapter of Bug Guy.
I noticed and I think it's kind of cool how we have slightly different pronunciations for Carpathian or Carpathian or whatever. I think that adds a little spice to the reading, in my opinion.
It's, I think the regular pronunciation is Carpathian, but
What am I saying?
Yeah. Well, you're saying it that way, and I said path because that's how I said it when I was reading it on Saturday. But it seems like the Bug Guy would do something like that anyhow, I guess.
it's...
Actually, it's kind of funny if somebody's saying it not quite right.
Yeah, so originally my intention was to parody Kim Kardashian, but the thing is that
that's who that's supposed to be?
Yeah.
The thing is that I don't really know how to parody Kim Kardashian, so it's...
She's kind of a parody.
She's kind of a parody all by herself, isn't she?
It's a great name. The last name's a great name.
Well, that's the name of this alien race in Star Trek.
Yeah, there's
especially in
something
Deep Space
similar.
Nine.
Is that right?
The Cardassians, yeah.
So actually, Carpathian is actually based on a real place. It's like a mountain range in Hungary. So it kind of like defines the boundary of Hungary and some other countries.